Just more cheap scoring of political points, more mud throwing. In fact, they're picking up mud that was thrown years ago and re-throwing it. And they absolutely cannot be taken seriously on integrity. Today is the fourth day in a row that I have called on David Crisafulli and the LNP to pick up the phone to Scott Morrison and demand that he introduce a federal corruption watchdog. It was an election commitment. He still hasn't done it. How can we take David Crisafulli and the LNP seriously on integrity here in Queensland when he refuses to comment on the lack of a federal corruption watchdog? David Crisafulli doesn't like it when we remind Queenslanders about the LNP's record in government. He says that was too long ago. And already this week I've reminded Queenslanders that they sacked staff from the CCC and sacked the Parliamentary Oversight Committee. Well, let's look at a few years more recent history when they've been in opposition. David Crisafulli has been a frontbencher in their side of politics. They voted against every one of our integrity measures. They voted against real-time disclosure laws. They voted against developer donation bans. They voted against reducing the threshold for donation disclosure from $14,000 to $1,000. We cannot take them seriously on integrity. If he really believes that there is something that needs to be considered by a Royal Commission, then he should refer it to the standing Royal Commission that we've had in Queensland since 1989. But he won't do that. They won't do that because they know all of these issues have either been investigated or are under current investigation. Like the Premier said this morning, Queenslanders know that she has stood up with integrity and looked after them during this pandemic. She's looked after the nurses and the doctors. She didn't sack 14,000 public servants. She didn't sack nurses and doctors. This is a government that has been focused on Queenslanders and their health, and the LNP have been missing in action for the last 2 years and are now only interested in scoring cheap points. As the Premier has said today, she referred a matter to the Parliamentary Committee. That is the proper process. I've also said this week a number of times that we're a government that follows process. The LNP clearly didn't follow process in government. We're absolutely here to follow the correct process, and let's let all of these matters be investigated. Let's let the relevant committees or the CCC do their work.
What were the matters that were referred to?
I don't know, Lane, and the Premier has said this morning that that's a matter that you'll have to ask the committee.
On Dave the Premier says it's a matter for the CCC, but their investigation was quite specific to the funding. It didn't look at the missing letter, which seems the crux of this latest piece. So is that really, could she really say that this is with the CCC? It doesn't seem like it is with the CCC.
Well, that matter was investigated, and I did see Tim Mander's press conference today, and I don't think Tim Mander has come forward with all of the information that he has about this matter. He admitted to receiving a letter from the acting state archivist about this matter. I think you should demand that he shows you that letter and what the outcomes of this investigation were. And to be honest, well, you'll have to ask Tim Mander that. He made a referral and he has received advice about the outcomes of those investigations. So I would demand that he show you that correspondence that he mentioned. But to be honest, to roll out Tim Mander as part of your integrity team, I mean, this was the MP that stood up in the Parliament, swore on a stack of Bibles that he didn't say mean things about Kate Jones, and then we all listened to the Hansard and he had to retract it. And I might say, as the Minister for Women, I'll never forget that Tim Mander complained about there being too many women on the parole board. Thank you. What was that?